This
No, sir.
conference will now be recorded.
Is it fine?
No, sir.
It okay now?
Yes, sir. Now it's go.
Yeah. So virtual private cloud is a private network. We are going to manage our data centers in the Amazon Web Services. So private network and public subnets we are going to create. It is a scalable architecture, so you can scale up and scale down. So we can extend the configuration to corporate networks, home networks, on-premises networks in the cloud environment. So we can understand the default VPC. Default VPC is a different setup that a non-default VPC. So by default, whenever we are working with AWS, default VPC automatically assigned by the AWS people. So default VPC is meant to allow the user easy access to a VPC without having to configuration it from scratch. So no need to configuration, no need to configure your own VPC. By default, whenever you are going to work, the default VPC will work. So default VPC all subnets provides at an internet gateway attached by default. Internet gateway is also attached to the default VPC. That is the reason. So we are going to connect the instances. Next to each instance added has a default private and public IP addresses. Public IP can changes every time. That is the reason we are going to assign the elastic IP addresses. So if you delete the default VPC, the only way to get it back to the connect to AWS. So whenever we deleted the default VPC by accidentally, so we have to intimate to the AWS people. So I deleted my default VPC. That is the reason I am not able to connect to your AWS networks. So they will provide the default VPC. So default VPC we are not going to delete. Now non-default VPC. Non-default VPC have private IP address but will not have a public IP address. So this is we are going to set up. So non-default VPC have a private IP addresses but will not the public IP addresses. Can only access resources through elastic IP address, virtual private network or gateway instances. So we have to create the gateway instance and VPN instances, and non-default VPC subnets will not have internet gateway attached by default. So everything we have to provide. Non-default VPC means your own private network. So they are not going to be communicate with the public network. So you can access with our own network only. That is the non-default VPC. So remember the point, default VPC is assigned by the AWS. They have public IP and private IP addresses, but non-default VPCs we can have only private IP addresses. That is also we are going to set up the non-default VPC. So VPC peering allows you to set up a direct network route between the one VPC to another VPCs by using the private IP address. For example, we have a branch office in Asia Pacific, Mumbai, another branch office in Singapore, or maybe wherever it may be, US or Australia. So I can communicate my servers within the VPC, which are located on different geographical regions. So instances will communicate with each other as if they were on the same private network. So we are going to configure the same private network. I have to communicate my servers which are located in Mumbai to servers which are located in US East or US Virginia, whatever it may be. So VPC peering can occur between other AWS accounts and other VPCs within the same region. So within the same regions, we can communicate the VPCs and other regions also. So peering two VPCs compatibly run multiple AWS accounts. So we can have the multiple accounts. For example, we have one account, I have an account. So I configure some servers, you configure some servers. So we can understand and we can communicate between the your servers and my servers. So peering to a VPC, multiple VPCs connect to a central VPCs but cannot communicate with each other, only the central VPC. So file sharings, customer access, Active Directory. So we can configure in the VPC. So VPC scenarios, VPC with public subnet only, single tier applications. VPC with public and private subnet if you have resources not served to internet. So that is two tier. VPC with a public and private subnets and hardware connected to the VPN. For example, you have virtual private network. So extending to on the on-premises. So from on-premises servers also, we can configure the communication with the VPC. VPC with a private subnet only and hardware VPN access. So simply I will explain. We have a public subnets, public servers. We have a database servers. The database servers cannot communicate with the public environment. So only web servers only communicate with public environment in our companies. But whenever the database servers they want to communicate with public, because they are going to be up to date, they are going to make the servers. So in that scenarios, as a AWS solutions architect, so we are going to give the public communication between the private network and the public network. That is the main concept of VPC. That is also called as NATing. We are going to discuss NATing tomorrow, but today we are going to see how to create VPCs. Log into AWS Management Console. Go to services, select VPC. So click on VPC. This is a default VPC. We cannot delete it. If you delete it, you have to contact the AWS customer care. So that is the reason I given the name default VPC. By default, whenever we created the account, automatically will come. Now we are going to create our own VPC. Create on VPC. No, DS VPC. I am giving the name of the VPC, DS VPC. Select the network range 192.168.0.0/16. These are the subnet masks. So tenancy is default. No IPv6 CADR block. Click on create. Click on close. Now we are going to create the public subnet. Left side panel, you can click on the subnets. Already default subnets are created automatically, but we are going to create our own subnet. Create subnet. Give the subnet name ds hyphen pub subnet. Select the VPC. Which VPC we are going to add? DS VPC. So here you can give the availability zone. So I am selecting AP South 1A. So give the associated network ID and give the IP address 192.168.10.0. This is the series of the IP address. So D0.0 any network I can use. I am taking 192.168.0.0. Click on create. So public subnet is created. Now create the private subnet. Now again click on create subnet. DS private subnet. Select the VPC, DS VPC, availability zone. You can select same zone or another zone, no problem. Now select the IP address range 192.168.20 series. So public subnet is 10 series, private subnet is 20 series. Remember. Click on create. Click on close. So public subnet is created, private subnet is created, both are available. So available IP addresses you can check here. 250 IP addresses are available. So depending upon the subnet blocks, we can get the IP addresses. Next, we have to create the internet gateway. So now go to left side panel, click on internet gateways. So default gateway is there, but don't select that one. Create a new gateway. So create internet gateway. So here you can select the gateway name DS IGW internet gateway. This is the gateway name. Click on create. Now this gateway we have to attach to the VPC. So select the gateway. Click on actions. So click on attach to VPC. Select the VPC, DS VPC, just now we created. Click on attach. So the gateway is attached. Now we are going to create the routing table. Left side panel, select the routing tables. Click on create route table. Give the routing table name DS pub-route. So select the VPC, DS VPC, click on create. Now routing table is created. Now we are going to configure subnet associations. So select the subnets. Select the public route, click on actions. So edit subnet associations. Select the DS public subnet. Click on save. So click on routes here. Click on edit routes. Add another route. So select destination 0.0.0.0. Click on target. Select the gateway, internet gateway. So gateway already we created, DS gateway. Click on save routes. So subnet association is created. Now create the private routing table. So click on routing table, create route table, DS hyphen private route. Select the VPC, DS VPC. Click on create. Click on close. Click on subnet association. Edit subnet association. Select DS private subnet. Click on save. So private route is created. So two routing tables we created now. Click on save. Now here no need to add the gateway to the private route, because private routing we are not going to communicate with the public routing. That is the reason. Gateway we are not going to attach here. So here we can add the gateways, but gateway we are not going to attach here, because private routing we do not assign the gateway. So like this you can create. First VPC we are going to create. After creating VPC, we are going to create a public subnet, and we are going to create a private subnet. So after creating the public and private subnets, we are going to create the internet gateway. So after creating internet gateway, you can create a public routing table. So for the public routing table, we can associate the subnet to the routing rules. You can add the public routing to the particular routing table. Then we have to attach the subnet association. So then we can select the routing information. We can add the another route, destination, any network. So target gateway, whatever the gateway we selected, created, we have to select the gateway for the public subnet. Then creating the private routing table. So assign the subnet association, but private subnet, you cannot attach the gateway, but public network we attached the gateway. Private subnet we are not going to attach the gateway, because by default private subnets cannot communicate with internet. That is the reason internet gateway, we are not going to assign to the private routing table. This is the important point you have to remember. So tomorrow what we are going to see, we can launch the Windows server into public subnet, and we can launch the Windows server in private subnet. So how to communicate two Windows and uh, two Windows servers in public subnet to private subnet. So do you have any doubts? Please ask me, Mr. Kapil.
No, sir.
Yeah. So this
Sir?
video carefully we
Yes.
have to remember, because this is some confusion subject. First, VPC we are going to create. We are going to create public subnet and private subnet. Then we can create the internet gateway. Then we can create private routing table, public routing table. But public
And
routing
private
table,
routing.
you can add the internet gateway. Private routing table, we cannot add the internet gateway. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So tomorrow, now our VPC configuration is completed, subnets are completed. Now we are going to launch the instances. Then we can add the instances into the particular public subnet, and on another instance into the private subnet. Then we are going to see the communication by default. Okay.
Sir?
Yeah. Tell me, Mr. Kapil.
Sir, if you don't mind, sir,
Yeah.
I have a problem when
Yeah.
when I configure FTP server, and there is always some problem, that is
Okay.
IP table is not installed whatever the question is, but in that we show in RHEL6 that work fine.
Okay.
But I resolved that problem with the help of Google. But sir,
Okay.
if you have any video that show the compatibility between RHEL6 and RHEL7, also
Yeah.
in
So I will.
RHEL8,
Yeah, yeah, yes, I will sell. RHL 7 onwards, same. RHL 8, 8 also no differences. So you have to firewall hyphen CMD command, you have to add.
yes, sir.
Yeah, that
Google
is
is
I will
also
send.
saying there is some firewall configurations is changes in IP
Yeah,
tables.
yeah. See,
Yes.
in RHL 6, just now we can give service IP table stops, it is enough. But RHL 7, you have to run the command firewall hyphen CMD space hyphen hyphen add hyphen service equal to FTP space hyphen hyphen permanent. Then you have to reload the service. So like this. In simply RHL service, RHL 6 service IP table stops. But RHL 7,
Yes, sir.
we have some commands are there. So I will update you tomorrow.
Sir?
Tomorrow I
Yes,
will
sir,
update.
sir. Okay.
Okay.
Because sir, I will definitely go to the examination.
Okay. Okay.
I will daily prepare for myself, because
Yeah. Yeah.
I also add in my resume, and I
Yeah.
will try to go to the AWS solution architecture examination also, sir.
Okay. Okay. No
That's
problem. I will update everything. So there is
yes,
small differences. Only when you start the service in RHL 6, we are going to we are going to use the command service VSFTPD start. But here system CTL start VSFTPD. So
yes,
that
sir,
some
yes, sir.
two or two commands or differences are there. I will update
Whenever,
you.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, whenever I run the command, say IP tables enable, that command is not working. First of
Not
all, we
working.
have to install IP tables and set up firewalls also, and then system CTL enables.
Yeah.
Fi- yes, sir. There are
System
so many
CTL
commands. So,
start. Yeah, yeah. I will send all the comments. I will update you. No problem.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
What is RHL
And
6? What is the command? RHL 7? What is the command? I will update the document. Okay.
okay, sir. If you have any
Okay.
video, sir, send me video also, sir.
Yeah, no problem. I will send. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.